We are going to do this one more time. All right, in my last broadcast, I had some great players, and if you check out my late night broadcast, I did do that without vocals, but it's just more difficult. Sometimes the text, I'm terrible at spelling, so it's hard sometimes for people to understand what you're trying to say. I have a bad habit of typing in shorthand, and most gamers have no clue what that is or ever even seen a typewriter. I'm ancient, but anyway, let's have some fun. Let's start playing. Today we're going to play again. Hopefully we get some great gamers and my gamers will come back. But I am hosting to a live open world. It's to the public. Anywhere, anybody in the world can play if they want. All you have to do is join. Can be a little tricky, a little scary from some people, but I can't really control what people do or say. Hopefully the powers that be realize that I can't, the censors that is, I can't really control what other people say or do. Hopefully they're all nice and kind like me, and we all play and have fun. Alright, let's host this game. Now we're going to go back to day 18. That was my very first vocalized broadcast. Hopefully I had a great player DM. Hopefully he comes back and he watches. And we're going to start around 6 o'clock, which is soon. But I did say in my previous broadcast that this channel on YouTube that I'm streaming to is all about game mechanics. So I'm going to go back over. And a lot of times, you describe the game mechanics, but until someone reviews the information, and try not to repeat myself for my YouTubers because these videos are super long. They're 2 to 3 hours long. And I try not to break them up because of game mechanics. One day in the game is like 8 minutes. So once you get up to 2 hours, you're looking at like 15 to 18 days, and by the time you get to winter, it's already been a good 3 hours. So you can't really see how the game mechanics work if you try to block it up. I did try to block it up in 30 minutes and then change the setting a little bit, and then just decided to leave it that way and not edit, just so you kind of get a sense of, with the game mechanics, it can be kind of difficult. But what we're going to try to do is we're going to go back into this world, and hopefully we can get our player back and maybe some new players. And here we go. We're going to start a little early. Maybe everybody gets a chance to get in and start up. Excuse me. And I'm so excited. I had some great viewers. I had some great broadcast viewers, and I had some great YouTube viewers. And you guys were really awesome. You guys did a lot for me. You guys helped me out. A lot of people think I was playing the game more for, trying to teach people. And if they learn, they learn. Like I said in my past broadcast, what I meant by that is some people can't learn because they're distracted, they're hungry, they are fatigued, they're tired. There's so many, just like in this game, there are so many factors that can happen. I mean, if you see some of my unvocalized broadcasts, you'll see that me just trying to help people sometimes and do things for them, I really get distracted myself. I mean, it's really easy to do in-game, and it can be difficult. Now, I usually try to stream Thursday through Sunday, 6 to 9, but today I'm streaming today because my internet was out all week. During the day, they were working on it. I guess now that they have a new broadcaster in the area, they decided to come in and give me all the bells and whistles, which is great. Love them. Can't complain. But yeah, I really didn't get the chance to stream last Saturday or Sunday, and I felt so bad for my player because I know he wanted to come back and learn, and hopefully he sees that I'm here today and he does come back. But my goal is really to teach game mechanics. And once we learn the game mechanics, it is so easy from there to expand and grow and do more and more stuff. And a lot of viewers, or if you've played this game previously, you may not understand what I'm doing, but it's okay. I can show you. Alright, like I said in my previous stream, what I'm going to try and do is, get all the things that I need. It is day 18, and the day is almost ending. So I really need stone, if I remember. And I have got to get all my machines going. Now I do play a few other worlds, and I'm always going to try to keep them there for anybody that wants to come back and play with me that played in those previous worlds. I'm going to keep them open. But if you watch any of my unvocalized late night streams, you will see that, you know, a lot of it's mechanics, and I'm trying to show people that have never played the game not to panic and that things happen. I mean, you know, sometimes I would die on purpose just to show that you can regenerate, you can, you know, repopulate yourself into the world, but it's not that difficult. I don't really like to roll it back. You know, if I get griefers, if I get trolls, you know, then I will. I hate to do that, but you know, sometimes you just can't stop people, you know, from playing a different game style, excuse me, than you are. But you know, that's the chance you take in the real world. I mean, you want to play with everybody, you know, give everybody a chance to, you know, give it a shot. And like I said before, I do talk a lot, but because this is going to be here forever and eternity, I stand behind my work. I know not everybody would do the game style I do or do it the way I do it. There's his stuff he lost. Oh, I hope he comes back. Now, if you ever watch my previous streams, I try not to bother anybody's stuff. If they lose it, if they lost it, you know, I will kind of leave it there for them, because people get possessive over their things. Even though in this game style, the individual in a true cooperative fashion really doesn't own anything. None of the items are really their own. What we all do is we share, and we share alike. And of course, my last player, I was ending the stream, so normally I would set up a new player with, you know, all the main necessities. You know, I would give them their torches, I would give them grass, and I would give them sticks, so they don't have to worry about starting out. But I was really close to the end of the stream, and I wanted to kind of help him with game mechanics a little bit more. He unfortunately, you know, went off into the darkness without any, you know, any pre-prep, and that was kind of my fault. I forgot to give it to him. I had it on me. I should have given it to him. It was really, you know, bad on my, it's a really bad faux pas on my part. But because I was so close to the end of the stream, I wanted him to, you know, get regenerated, because he did unfortunately die to become a spooky ghost. And then he kind of got turned around, because one of the big game mechanics that nobody really understands is that this is not a map. When you look at this, everybody says, "Oh, you're crazy, Charbender. You have no clue about the game. You don't know what you're talking about." That's exactly what it is. It's my map. But really, it's not. This is your character's... excuse me. Pardon me again. This is not a map. This is your character's memory of the map, and the geography of what he remembers as the layout. I know, it sounds crazy, but let me explain the mechanics of the game. If you're alive and you have your character has a body and is whole in the world, and you know, even if they're insane, they can still remember the map and see where they've been if they look at them, you know, if they think about it. And this is kind of like thinking about it. Like excuse me again. Like right now, I have opened up all of this section of the map, and if you look, it's a pretty big chunk, and I've got like what I think it's like 4 chunks maybe. I don't know the exact dimensions of the game mechanics in their chunks. Just like in other open world concepts, there's a lot of program, a lot of memory for the game to have to remember. So it's going to load it to you in chunks at the time. But this is not a map. This is actually your character's memory of the geography. And the reason why I say that, because it's a big difference. Now, if you have a body in game, in which like my little character right now, he's alive, he's not doing too well, his health is poor, he's really hungry. But what I mean by this is his memory of the map. Let's say if I'm over here and I chop this tree down, and if you're standing right beside me, you'll see the tree is there. But if you move out of my chunk, Like say you go over here, you stand away from that circle. See that circle of my vision? That is my visual acuity, and I can see, my character can see everything right there in that map. I mean, in that lit zone. But now, if you walk away from that vision and you can't see me cut this tree down, when you come back to the map, the tree's not there, but on your map and your memory, it will be there. But if I cut it down and you're not looking at me cutting it down, when you come back, your memory, actually before I say if you come back, your memory will remember that it was there, but when you come back it's not there, and then you have to see the chunk again to update your memory. And that's one of the game mechanics I'd like to show, if I can get like 4 players in here in the world at the same time. Because I think that the map is bigger. Like if we all stand at 4 corners of the screen and we each can see each other's line of vision, then I think it does some more dramatic things with the game mechanics that people may not even have any clue about. Even if they played and they're veteran players, they may play, you know, some 3,000 days in the game, but they don't necessarily know all the game mechanics. They may have figured them out, they may think they understand them, but it's really a little bit more surprising to some players. And if they watch my stream, and I know they're really long, so, but great thing, there's a pause button. You can come back to it later. But one of the great things about my stream is it's all about game mechanics. And once you learn the game mechanics, you can excuse me for my pause, you can actually you know, take a different look at the game, and you can use the mechanics to your benefit. In my past streams, like I know how to do a lot of these mechanics and use them to my you know, best advantage. Sometimes I didn't, just to show people what would happen if you don't use, you know, with the game mechanics, if you don't use some of those strategies. My health is still low from regenerating my last visitor, but it's alright. I got my achievement, a giving heart, which was great. And the reason why I waited so long for this game and to start streaming it is because it was under a lot of development. It was still growing. Excuse me. And there's going to be updates, and there were a lot of updates to those before I started. Excuse me again. So I kind of wanted to wait for them to get the majority of them done and get them finished so that the game mechanics don't change a whole lot. They did a lot of updates and a lot of other things on the other versions. Alright, we need lots of things. Alright, let's see here. One other thing I want to talk about too in the game mechanics is, you know, a lot of people don't really realize, but, you know, I made a mistake in my first vocalized broadcast of calling all of these animals. They're really not animals in this world because, like I said before, you are in a nightmare world. So really all of these animals are mobs. The birds, the beefalo, the deer rabbits, or whatever they're called. They're all monsters, even the frogs, even the bees, and all of these monsters of battle, or mobs, as I call them in my world, they will battle you to protect themselves because, you know, just like you, they're stuck in a nightmare world, but they have someone watching their back. Each mob, or I should say each group of mobs, has a mob boss, which is kind of like their version of a god in this world. You know, they protect them if you distress them too much, or if you get your naughty quotient up with them. If they don't like you, then they will send the big boss after you. And just case in point, a lot of people, you know, one particular one is, say, let's say trees, for instance. We all have seen, if you played the game before, there are tree guardians. And what happens, like, say, this is a baby tree. Hi, baby tree. Now, if he had some friends here, let me see if I can't maybe get him some more friends. Oh, these are baby saplings, I should say. And that was an a young tree, and there's also an adolescent tree, and then there's an adult tree. But if you start, if you start cutting down any other age of tree besides an adult tree, your quotient starts running up. Your naughtiness, excuse me, I almost bit the bullet there. But your naughtiness quotient goes up with that particular god, and he will send a tree guardian, to protect the young trees. Now, you can appease the tree guardian and put him back to sleep, and the only way to do that is to plant more, acorns, or I guess seed trees, depending on the tree god that you are fighting against. And yep, there is a guardian style type for each single tree type. Now, I have survived an entire winter without a fridge. I have survived an entire winter without a crock pot. It's not easy to do, and most gamers are like, well, why would you even want to if you don't have to? But sometimes you kind of have to. The reason why I say that is because, just like in real life, I have this set on random so that I really don't get a choice in what I get. And I do it that way because you can't really control, because you can't really control the randomness of it. And I like that aspect more than, excuse me, more than sitting here and I can customize the world. And that's great if I want, to play that particular style of game, but in a survival mode, it's really not as beneficial, because to me it's kind of like cheating. Because in real life, that's the advantages and the disadvantages of, in real life and in game life. You don't really know what you're going to get. You don't know what you're going to have access to right away. If you look at the past streams I've done, sometimes I start out and, man, there are gears right there. There are, other items that are just, boom, I can take access of right away. I don't have to go search for them. And you get a jump start. Just like in life, you can get a jump start. And you can do a lot more, just depending on, your ability to have access to the items. It is day 21, and I am out of luck, but if I don't get this underway, I want to have at least an alchemy machine. Yeah, my sanity's dropping, and that's probably why I'm losing health so rapidly, but we have got to find wood quickly before dark again, or we're going to freeze. Now my sanity's starting to get a little low, so if you notice, my character's starting to see things in his line of vision. And they are spooky things. That is called a night crawler. Or is it a night walker? I think it's a crawler. But then there's also terror beaks, large small and medium ones, I think. And they are also mechanics of the game. I think they have bosses. They have a boss as well. You've all maybe seen him if you've played before. His name is Charlie. He is the antagonist, as it were. But my game is here for all players, all ages. If I can help you, I will. If I can show you, I will. And that's what it's all here for. I'm trying to cultivate players that want to play and want to learn the game. And not only want to learn the game, but want to learn cooperative play style. Now, there are some people that, which there's nothing wrong with anybody's strategy. Some people like to split up during the day, and I've even done that in my late night stream, where everybody, goes off and does the looting and does what gathering they can while they can. And then every night we meet back up at camp. That is one, version of cooperative style. But I have some other good ideas that I'd like to implement in my channel on YouTube. Just to kind of give everybody, other options of play styles. Because unfortunately, and fortunately with this game, I should say, it is also really cool because, you can kind of overlap different play styles. If you want, you can start a cooperative world, and then you can, come in and you can play a totally different version. And I might even do that later on in streams. I might let, even though we don't have it set on Madness setting in a closed game, maybe we can start a survival world. And then we all, get a man for ourselves and compete. Every man for himself style. Can play competitive style that way. It's a lot of fun. And of course, madness will ensue if you're trying to attack each other and burn each other's belongings down or steal from each other. But that's not really the game mechanics I'm trying to show on my channel just now. Maybe later once all the basics are down. And there's a lot more basics. Some people try to, how-to videos. That's not really my style because, there's 5,000 different ways in this game seemingly to do the same thing. And if you watch any of my long broadcasts, you'll see that there are different ways of doing things. Not everybody has to do it the same way. Day 20, and we are ready for winter. And technically, winter's not until tomorrow in game. But if anybody wants to join, they're welcome to. I should be broadcasting and streaming live to YouTube. But don't worry, we're not done yet. There's still a lot more to do. But back to what I was saying about game mechanics. And I don't think I'm wrong. Very possible. I've been known to be wrong before, but most of the time in game, people don't realize that the mechanics are set up to, like I was saying earlier, every monster has a monster boss. And all of these mobs are monsters of battle. And I believe, like all the insects, let's say, like the bees, they have their own boss, the bee queen. And of course, then there's excuse me again. Wow. The bee queen will protect her bees, and the giant mosquito, of course, that boss will protect his mosquitoes. And if you aggro the mosquitoes too much, you will also enrage the giant mosquito. Now, I've never done it, so she may or may not come after you, or he. But I do know the queens will. And the more bees you take out, the more queens will spawn and try to figure out what's going on. And if you kill too many bunnies, if you murder them, or if you're mean to them, you set one on fire, and you're going to anger Deerclops. Now, Deerclops is angry anyway. But if you feed bunnies and you take care of bunnies and you help them, and yeah, fortunately you have to cook them occasionally, but just like with anything, if you don't over-harvest it, you keep your naughty quotient down, and every day that you don't do something bad, and for every good action, there is a positive reaction. A lot of people don't know that. But let's say if I go and I start, let's say I go and I start harvesting and I start killing all the mobs and these little monsters of battle. Now, of course, some people call them passive mobs, like rabbits. Yeah, they are technically passive, which I don't really think the bunnies are going to really attack you. Like the frogs, if you aggro the frogs and you get them really mad at you and you just kill them for no reason, and you don't really utilize and you really, get your naughtiness level up with that particular boss god, then yeah, the frog king is going to send you frog rain. Crazy, huh? Now, I don't know yet if anybody's ever seen the frog king or queen or whatever it is, but I'm sure there is one. We just haven't seen it yet. And if there isn't, maybe they'll implement it in the game. But right now, frog rain is pretty bad enough on its own. But I think, I may be wrong, like I said, I haven't read the book on the game, if there is one, with every single hidden feature. But they try to do it so, you kind of have to figure it out on your own, which is cool, but if you don't understand the basic mechanics, you're not going to get anywhere. And what I want to do is I want to eventually ride the bosses, which I want to make saddles, and I want to, bend them to my will, all these characters. So I think each boss has a treat that it likes. Like we all know, if you've ever played before, there is Pig Odin, which is the Pig King, and the Pig King loves trinkets. I think all the bosses love trinkets, but he likes gold. That's his favorite thing. He'll give it away for free if you give him trinkets. And apparently Pig Odin has unlimited amounts of gold, but he only gives a certain amount for certain things. Some things he doesn't want at all in the game, like items and stuff, and some things he just has to have. Trinkets being one of them, and you can appease each one of the giant mosses with them, and it will lower your naughtiness level, and they will smile upon you, or they will like you, or they just won't be aggressive. Now, I haven't figured out yet what each one likes, but my guess, if you go out to the giant mosquito, I would guess that giant mosquito boss wants goop. I mean, I'm just guessing because it looks like a giant mosquito fly hybrid. So what I'm going to do in game is I'm going to try and feed it goop. Just like with the bee queen, my guess, I don't know what the bee queen would like, but my guess is something that she doesn't have. Just like the giant mosquito, if you notice, there's really no goop around him. I should say it's more like a fly, mosquito, giant hybrid kind of thing. All of these monsters of battle bosses are mashups, just like all the little monsters are. They may be passive mobs, they may be unpassive mobs, but they're still monsters of battle, which means he's going to tell on you. Like if I be mean to all these little rabbits, he's going to tell Deerclops, and Deerclops is going to come after me. Just like if I cut all these baby trees down, they're going to tell the big bad tree guardians to come after me. So you got to be careful. You don't want to really aggro your chunks in the world. You don't want to really upset the world too much right away. Alright, we have got to stay on task. It is winter. We need lots of stuff still to use. And we're going to have more hounds. And we are nowhere prepared for hounds. We had a player that kind of, you know, left the game, and when you leave the game, that's another mechanic that you really have to worry about. When you leave the game, if you have anything in your inventory slot, you take it out of the world with you. Teleport right out. So if you really want to put somebody in a bad situation, you can really mess them up. You take all their stuff and just leave. Not cool, not good game etiquette, but it happens. Yeah, Wilson, I heard it. We're really low on health and hunger, so I'm probably going to take you to a swamp. Just to save your Bahukas. And I'm not going to be able to survive. No armor, just like I did say in my past video. Just like I said in my past video. You have to be careful that you have somebody in your team working with you. If somebody was in the game with me, they would be able to respawn me, but since there is no one else in the game, I kind of have to roll it back and try it again. This time I won't hesitate. So I won't get distracted talking too much, but it happens. So I have sent out friend requests, and I have to work tomorrow earlier in the day, but tomorrow I'm also going to be posting and streaming and playing the game and hosting to the world. I mean, hopefully they'll come Thursday. This is just once again to kind of show you game mechanics and show you that there are mechanics to the game that a lot of people don't even know about. Even after they've played for many days, you can still figure things out about the game. And sometimes it will glitch if you're doing an action that it doesn't really like. Sometimes it's because people are enjoying the world. But you gotta remember, it's doing a lot. It's actually broadcasting to the entire world, not only in-game, but it's open world on the server, so anybody in the world can play. It's open to the public world. So connection speeds, lag times may vary. Game can be a lot of fun. You can boss it on your own, but when you don't starve together, it's better if you play with a bunch of people Again, just to show you game mechanics. Go too far from the fire, the heat, the warmth. I do have a thermal stone I can warm up, but it loses, every time it's heated and used and cools, it loses its integrity, I guess is the word I'm groping for here. Just like with all your other stuff, it will break if it's used. Just like armor, with the game mechanics, you can wear it and it won't degrade and lose its integrity unless, you know, it takes damage. Now if you notice, it heated up and it didn't lose any integrity, but as it cools, that's when it loses it seemingly loses its integrity. So you have to be careful that you always have one on you and keep it handy. I was going to try to lead the dogs last time to the swamp because I was alone in the game by myself. I've proven in my past streams that, you know, I can take them out on my own, even without armor, but being that my food and my health is really low, I was trying not to do that too bad. Now, I haven't really tried it, but noticing the game mechanics, I think that once a dog is really low on his health and he stops attacking you, I think that's when the time you can kind of alpha them. And if you were to feed them right then, I think you would start befriending them, just like the Wallace guy has his own dogs. I think you would get your own dogs as well. They're just too many. They're gonna gang up on me now. If they gang up on me, I can usually fight one or two on my own. I can't fight them all if I can draw one away. I'm gonna freeze. I'm gonna die. Well, maybe I'll come back later and ask a few of my friends to join.